recording. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is what we're going to find out today. What you already know about plagiarism, the common term we use when we discuss plagiarism, because there's about 5 common terms that you may not know that are really important when we discuss plagiarism. There are 6 different types of plagiarism. That's right, 6. And then we're going to do a quick game to see what you've learned. So, what do you know about plagiarism? So, either write in the chat box or tell me, you can unmute yourself and let me know. When you think of plagiarism, what do you know? Anybody? What do you think? And you can be totally guess. That's fine.
It's not good.
It's not good, right?
Yeah.
Now, why is it not good? What happens if you plagiarize?
Because you copy the result of another person.
Yeah, one of the ways is you copy a result of another person. That's one way to plagiarize. And someone said here it's cheating and it's not good. Whenever it gets changed, oh, thanks, Kim. That's the form that we were talking about before. Kim just put in the chat. Yeah, so we know that it's cheating. We know that one form of plagiarizing is directly copying what somebody else does and calling it your own. Anything else anybody wants to add? You can get expelled from school. Yep, some schools will certainly expel you. If not, they will definitely bring you up and talk to you about, well, there are serious repercussions. Could be a fail on that particular paper, could be getting expelled from school, could be any number of things. So that's, yeah, lack of integrity. We're going to talk about that, actually. That's one of the terms we're going to talk about is academic integrity today. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the chat as we go. So if you want to put anything in the chat at any time, I'll keep taking a peek down there and respond to whatever it is that you want to add to the discussion. Okay, so here are the terms we're going to go over first. It's common knowledge, attribution, academic dishonesty, academic integrity, and intellectual property. So think for a moment about what you may or may not know about each of these words, because we're going to define them. So you're going to know what all of these words mean before we get into the different forms of plagiarism. So the first thing we're going to talk about is common knowledge. So it's guessing time. You can totally guess. Does anybody know what common knowledge is, or maybe give an example of what common knowledge might be? I'll give you all a second to write, or you can unmute yourself and speak. That's fine too. I should have the Jeopardy music. Da, 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 da. Anybody watch Jeopardy? No thoughts on common knowledge? All right, let's think about it. If it's common, then it's something that's regular. Yeah, facts everyone knows. Yeah, so what might be a fact that everyone would know? Anybody have any examples of what they might think of? Thanks, Olga. I have some examples for us. Don't steal. Stealing is cheating. Yeah, stealing is actually a form of plagiarism. Let me show you where I'm coming from on this one. Oops, why did it go to attribution? No, hold on, let me go back. Hold on. All right, let me escape for a second. Oh no, here we go. Oh, my common knowledge is gone. Okay, well, let's just talk about common knowledge then. Hold on one sec. Get back into presenter mode. I lost a slide. How sad. Okay, I'm loading it back up. So common knowledge is pretty simple. It's something that everybody knows. So for example, you might say, Post Malone is a singer. You don't have to cite that Post Malone is a singer. We know this. Toyota is a type of car. That's known. So there are known facts. You do not have to to cite them and tell everybody where you got that fact from. If you have a question of is this a common knowledge or is it not, you might as well cite it. But if you're pretty sure that it's just something everybody should know and it's no stretch, then go for it and put it in. But like I said, being careful is really your best bet. So the next one is attribution. That one's a little tougher. Anybody have any thoughts on what attribution might be? You'll know when I tell you, you'll be like, oh, I know. Nobody has any thoughts on that? You all are so quiet.
Attribution is something that we must to make a payment.
No, that's not, in this case, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about attributing something. That's attribution, is when we attribute, if that helps. Sometimes words have more than one meaning. So like if you're trying to look it up in Google right now, for example, you might get something that doesn't have to do with plagiarism, but is used differently in this case. So let's see if I can get to the correct slide. Here we go. Attribution is giving credit to someone for their work. So for example, look at the bottom of this slide. See how it says that this photo is by Kane Reinholdson, and I got it from Unsplash. That's me giving credit to the picture on this slide. When you do an in-text citation in your paper, so in your paper, when you quote something or you paraphrase something and you say, this is from wherever it's from, that's giving that person attribution. Or for example, the other day, I was watching TV and we were talking about the new Alicia Keys album, and she's doing a song by Billy Joel. Well, they accredited Billy Joel the song. So she was singing it, but it wasn't her song, it was Billy Joel's song. So they told the audience Alicia Keys was singing a Billy Joel song. That's attributing to the author of the work. So we've all seen it before, you just may not have used that word before.
Is to get some credit, something like that, right?
Yes, it's giving someone credit for their work, absolutely. It's saying, this is not my work, I think it's awesome, I'm using their work to explain my point. So that's where we get that one. That's how we use that one normally. So, and feel free as I'm talking to either jump in or put something in the chat, because I'm watching the chat as we go. So academic dishonesty. When you think of that, what do you think?
It's something that we don't have to do it. Is like a lady says, to share something, not to give the homework, or for example, here's my homework teacher, but somebody help me to do it. I'm dishonest if I do that.
Oh, so you're saying, so let's see if I've got this right. You're saying if somebody else does your work and you say it's your work, but somebody else did it? Yes, that would be yes, that would be academic dishonesty for sure. Somebody else wrote in here, copying other people's work. Yeah, exactly. That would also be academic dishonesty. So let's see, let's look at the definition of it. So in total, it's falsification or misrepresentation of somebody else's work as your own. So just like you guys were saying, perfect. So not attributing someone's work in your paper. So for example, if I put this picture on this slide and I didn't say that Glenn Karsten was the one who actually created this picture, and I tried to make it look like I'm the one who created this picture, that is academic dishonesty if I'm putting it in my paper or I'm using it in an academic setting. And just like, attributing a piece of work that doesn't exist. So let's say you create a quote and it doesn't actually come from anywhere. It doesn't actually exist, but you needed another quote. So you put it in there, you create some place that it came from. That's being dishonest. That's academic dishonesty. Taking someone else's work and rewriting some words without attribution. So again, you take a quote, you say, oh, this is my work. You copy it, just like you were saying in the chat here. You copied it, you put it in, and you didn't attribute it. So it looked like your own. So that's academic dishonesty. On the flip side, what is academic integrity? My hint is, this is you. You have academic integrity. Anybody have any thoughts on what that is? That may be confusing. So what might academic integrity be? We all strive for this in our academic work.
It's maybe I to feel very proud what I did or what I finished.
If you have academic integrity, you should definitely feel proud of your work, for sure. Anybody else have any thoughts? Okay, let me show you what I was coming up with when I was looking at how I was going to show you all academic integrity. It's the opposite of being academically dishonest. So, like I put in here, as a scholar in the academic world, you're honest, you're trustworthy, you're fair, you're respectful, and you're responsible when it comes to the work that you do. So taking those 5 items and making it part, ooh, you got something going on there, I think, Maria, I can hear you. Taking those 5 items and putting it in your work allows you to have academic integrity. And then you don't have to worry about, is my work up to par when it comes to, are you doing your research correctly? If that makes sense. It's kind of hard to give a really good example of, but I think using those 5 pillars of truth when it comes to academic integrity really kind of help you understand. Okay, last but not least, intellectual property. You're almost there. Last one before we get into different types of plagiarism. So anybody have any thought? Anybody know what intellectual property is, or have any thoughts on what that might be? Oh, and I have a typo. Oh no. See what are examples of intellectual property? Wah, wah. Ideas? Yes. Good one. Yes, ideas can be intellectual property for sure. I'll show you in what context in this case ideas are. Let me go to the next slide. So it's a unique creation of the mind. So example, when somebody created the iPad, that is a piece of intellectual property. Literary works, when you read a novel or you read a book, the author of that item has intellectual property of that work. Or artistic works, just like the Post Malone song I was talking about. If he wrote that song, then he has intellectual property of those lyrics. So we want to make sure that we don't take somebody else's intellectual property, even by accident, and say that it is our own. Okay, any questions about those? And feel free, as we go through the types of plagiarism, to use those words to explain how you feel these types of plagiarism are used, or that people might use them. I'll show you what I mean. So these are the types of plagiarism. We have 6 different types. Who knew there were so many types of plagiarism? So there's direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, global plagiarism, and deceptive plagiarism. Sometimes you can even plagiarize, you don't even realize what you're doing. So this is one of the reasons why you're here today, is to kind of understand what kinds of plagiarism are out there so that you don't do them yourself. Oops, hold on. So that you don't do them yourself by accident. You all can still hear me, right? I'm hoping. Here, I'll do this. There we go. If you can't, you can now. Okay, let me go to my next slide, and there we go. Ah, self-plagiarism. Oh, I've gone too far. Let's talk about direct plagiarism for a second. Oh, whoa, it went way far. Oh no. Let me go back. Hold on one second. I lost my, there we go. Let me go back. Direct plagiarism, woo. Oh, hold on, Google's got me. There we go. Yeah, Google's running slow for me now. Okay, here we go with direct plagiarism. So we've already talked about this, didn't we? Direct plagiarism is copying someone's work word for word. It's loading, I know, it'll be there in a second. Copying someone else's work word for word. So we talked about that, right? When we talked about not attributing someone's work, right? That was attribution. So what else can you do if you want to copy someone's work, word for word? What should you do?
Oh,
We've mentioned it before. So if you're doing your paper in text, you're doing your paper. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Cite it. Yeah. So you put quotation marks around it and you cite it. You say, this is Post Malone. These are Post Malone's lyrics. And you put that in your MLA citation style or your APA citation style. That's exactly correct. Thank you so much. Okay. Self-plagiarism. That's reusing your work as if it was the first use of your work. That is actually plagiarizing. So if you put a paper in one of your classes, you do a great job, you cite everything you're supposed to cite, you put all the things in your, it's great, you get an A. And then you have a different class, same subject, and you want to use that paper again for that class, that is plagiarism. You're not allowed to do that. So what's a better way to handle this? Come on, people, it's a softball. No thoughts? Oh, here we go. Modify it, do more research for it. Absolutely. So you can take parts of it and use it again, but your best thing you should do is say that you used that before. Yes, exactly. Thank you. You can cite that paper. You can say in your paper in MLA or APA style that this is a paper that this is from a paper that you wrote previously. The best thing to do is rewrite, just rewrite the whole thing. And the reason for that is, why are we here? Why are we in school at all? We're in here to learn and to do more research and to understand how to go through these processes. When you use something a second time, you've lost the whole reason that you're going to school. You didn't learn anything new. You didn't get any new information. You didn't learn how to evaluate resources any better. You didn't get better on your writing skills. You didn't do all those things you've missed. I mean, why did you pay your tuition anyway? You really want to do as much of your own work as you can so that you can do the most learning, so you can go out there into the field and whatever you choose to do with your education and be able to be the best you can be in that area. So yeah, self-plagiarism, a lot of people don't realize that that's plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism. This is also called patch writing. This is when we replace phrases without attributing or changing, without attribution. So we've talked about that before, right? You just pull a whole phrase, put it in, call it yours. Or you change synonyms of someone else's work without attribution. So I think someone mentioned that before a little bit in the chat, if I remember correctly, where they said, you just change a couple words, right? You keep it in the same style, or you make the style just like your style, and you say what they said, but you make it sound like you're saying it as it's you and not somebody else, and you don't attribute it. This is called patch writing or mosaic plagiarism, when you just take parts and patch it into your work and don't cite it. So I think we already know what the better way is to handle this. We can use from the last one, with our last thing is in the chat. You can cite it. That's a better way to handle it. Any other thoughts on a better way to handle mosaic plagiarism? All right, yeah, I think probably the best thing we can do is to cite it or rewrite it completely. Do more research, get that information some other way and write it out, paraphrase, and cite. Really, you want to cite if you want to use that, if you want to use somebody else's thoughts. Because it's not just somebody else's work, it's also their thoughts. You can, if you plagiarize their thoughts, that wouldn't be good. Attribute it, yes, thank you. Perfect. Okay, accidental plagiarism. This is when someone forgets to attribute, misquotes a source, or unintentionally paraphrases. This is something that's kind of interesting. Sometimes when you get really into a subject and you read and read and read, and then you think about it and you try and come up with your own stuff, you may accidentally paraphrase what you read somewhere else. So you may be using their thoughts and putting them in, thinking that they're your thoughts because you've been reading so much. You have to be very, very careful not to accidentally plagiarize. It's tough. It's really tough, especially if you're doing something really long and really hard and you've been reading and reading and reading and reading. So is there a better way to handle, oh, this is a good one. What's a better way to handle accidental plagiarism? So you're reading like crazy and you're going in there. What else can you do, do you think, so that you don't accidentally plagiarize? All right, let's think about this. When you first were learning how to do research in one of your classes, proofread your work. That one's good. Yeah, proofreading your work will help for sure. Because you might come up with, oh, wait a minute, I think I had read that somewhere else. Index cards, yes, Olga, that's kind of where I was going to as well. When you first learned how to do research, you put them on index cards and you took notes somewhere, didn't you? And when you take those notes, what you really want to do is put the attribution on those notes so you remember where they came from. Because one of the things we often do when we're in a big hurry and we're trying to get things done is we write out those notes like we're supposed to, but we don't write where we got them from. And if we're looking at 5 different sources and we're reading and reading and reading, we might forget to write down this on one note came from this source, on another note came from that source. And then when we get to writing the paper, we don't remember where everything came from. And that's tough. That can really be hard. So yeah, your key is proofreading, and on your notes, make sure that you attribute in your notes before you even start writing. Okay, now, global plagiarism. Take a look at that. That's right, copying an entire work and calling it your own. So for example, that Alicia Keys song I was talking about, if she had sung that Billy Joel song and said, there's my song, isn't it awesome? She would have been doing global plagiarism. She would have been saying, that's my work. So I think we all know what the better way to handle this is. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on that. We kind of keep coming up with the same sort of thing there. But yeah, that's what global plagiarism is. And that's I think when you're younger and you're really like you're in middle school and you're starting research for the very first time, I remember when I was way back then, people would go into places like encyclopedias, which is much like what Wikipedia is today, and they would just take whole things and put them in and say, this is my work, that's what I did, and they give it in. You know, that's global plagiarism. I think you're probably all past that now. And I think you all know that that's plagiarism. It's a softball, it's pretty easy. Deceptive plagiarism. And we mentioned that one before too, right? Non-existent sources. So you say something exists when it doesn't. Now here's something interesting. Have you ever gone into Wikipedia and you see the little citations that come up? There's little 1s, 2s, 3s above the words. Those are people trying to cite their sources in Wikipedia. If you ever click on those sources and you go into those links, sometimes people will cite the source of where they got that information, and that information isn't in that source. So they'll like cite a New York Times article, and if you read that New York Times article, that information isn't even in the Wikipedia site. That's somebody doing deceptive plagiarism, and that's bad. You don't want to do that. That's one of worst kinds of plagiarism, because you're making stuff up. You're saying you got something where you didn't do any work, you know, and that's pretty bad. That's I think that goes into academic dishonesty in a big way. And feel free to chime in at any point in the chat or by voice. Okay, is that the last one on that one? Yes, deceptive plagiarism. Okay, so we're gonna play a game. This is, by the way, that's me. I should have put that at the very beginning. And there's my email address if you need it. Now I'm going to change over to a game. And if you need my email address at the end, I can certainly give that to you. So I have, here we go. I have a game called Goblin Threat, but you guys have to participate is the problem. So I don't know if we can get there. Pull it up. Okay, so I'm going to enter our name. Oops, hold on one second. There we go.
True.
Mm. Come on, dog.
When you get back to campus, you can always use them. Now, also, we have tutoring now, though. We have tutoring that's going online. If you need tutoring, they can also help you with your papers. If you think, I'm not sure, you know, if this is too much quoting, I'm not sure if when you read this, it all makes sense. That kind of stuff, we have help for you. Even now in these emergency times, we have help for you. So that's another reason why I want to take down my email address, because I can help you find that if you can't find it on your own. Okay, let's see where another one is. Ah, there we go. Greg uses information for his geology lab workbook in his lab report. Does he need to cite it? So he has a geology lab workbook, and he puts that information in his lab report. What do you think? Yes or no? Okay, one person says yes. Anybody else? Any thoughts? Put it in the chat, speak out loud. Anybody? Another yes? Oh, 3 yeses. Oh, okay, let's go with that then. You guys are good. There's 2 more in here somewhere. Here we go. Okay. Eric found an article online for his PowerPoint presentation, which addresses issues he has been discussing in class. How can he responsibly include a direct quote from this article in his presentation? A, B, C, or D, people? Parenthetical citation is when you put parentheses, or those little quotation, parentheses are the little forward and backward C's in between your work. So parentheses on that slide. So anybody have any thoughts on this one? A, B, C, or D? Anybody? D, okay. Anybody else? I'm going to go with majority rules again. So far, I have 1 as the majority. All right. Let's
A.
see what happens. Maybe A?
A.
All right. So between A and D. Natalia, any thoughts? You're our tiebreaker if you have, or you can go with a completely different one. Okay. So let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. My mother told me to pick the very best one, and you are it. Okay, let's try D and see what happens. Oh, parenthetical and works cited references are needed. So you did need to cite them with in text citation in the parentheses. Oh, I have one here. Look at that. Okay, Joey is good at taking tests, but does not write papers. Oh, we did this one. Yeah, we did this one. What did we say? I think we said A, right?
Probably A, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we got that. Okay. Okay, so there's a goblin somewhere. Anybody have any thoughts where that goblin might be? I'm waiting for my little, oh, we already did that one too, didn't we? Article in his PowerPoint presentation, which addresses issues he has been discussing in class. How can he responsibly include it? Okay, we did this one and it was this guy, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. So we go to another room. Okay, so why is it, there should not be any goblins left in this room. Anyhow, this particular plagiarism game is very long. Look at all the, we're only in room 2. There are a bunch of rooms. We're not going to go through all of them. I just wanted you to see that I think it's a really interesting game because it gives you a lot of really interesting examples of what plagiarism may or may not be. And I think they did a great job with it. If you go onto Google and you just put in plagiarism game, it's the one by likehoming.edu. It's one of the first ones that comes up usually. It's within the first like 3 hits you get if you put in plagiarism game and you want to check that out. So I just wanted to do that with you so you could see what that's about. Yeah, I think let me see. When I did my Google search, yeah, it actually was #1 on mine. Plagiarism game, Snowden Library, Lycoming College. That's where it comes from. And all I did was put in plagiarism game in the Google. Okay. All right. So, does anybody have any thoughts or questions about what you learned today on plagiarism? Was it new? Was there any information you didn't know before, maybe? Or did you know all this and you didn't even need to be here?
For me, it's
It's what?
new. It's new.
It's new. Yeah,
Yes.
it you know, 6 different kinds of plagiarism, you know, or 7. Was it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different kinds of plagiarism. Yeah, when I first did research for this class, I knew the different kinds of plagiarism, but I didn't realize they were being defined and that we had really so many definitions for plagiarism. So here's the thing. When you go back here, when you need help, do remember that we are here for you. We've got lots of different ways to help you. In fact, from the Mesa College homepage, let me go to the Mesa College page. Go over here. If you've never been to the library's homepage, from the Mesa College homepage, if you go up here to the top right-hand corner, that's where the library exists. If you're on a mobile device, by the way, this black line doesn't exist, and you get 3 little lines over here in the top right-hand corner, and you just click on that, and the library's in there. So when you go to the library, if you need help with your research, like let's say you don't know how to cite the source, you have a source, but you don't know how to cite it, or you need help with that, or you don't know how to get the information you need. Maybe you found it in Wikipedia and you know you can't cite Wikipedia as a source, so you need to find that information in another source that's credible. We can help you with all that kind of stuff. Or let's say you want to narrow your topic. You know you want to do something about climate change, but you know that's too big. So maybe you know you want to get down to climate change as it affects frogs and their generations, you know, that some of them are coming out not fully formed anymore. We can help you narrow to a topic that is doable. We can do lots of things to help you. So what you do is if you go here to Ask a Librarian, while you're at home, we have 2 different ways that you can contact us. You can make an online research appointment for 45 minutes with us one-on-one via Zoom, and we can help you do your research. We also have a live chat, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you click on research appointment, it just goes through like this. You can click and do your preferred librarian or just say, I don't have a preference. It has, you have to do it like 2 days in advance. So at this point, you'd have to wait till Monday. So let's say you go on Monday, this is when somebody's available. You just say, okay, 2 o'clock, you get Sean, you put in your name, your email, all the things here. I would suggest you put in what you're researching in this box so that we can prep before we come to you. You can upload your assignment if you want. You confirm the appointment and it'll give you a Zoom meeting place. And then you just click on that just like you clicked on this, and you'll go in and they'll go in and we will meet with you for 45 minutes or as long as you need. Really. The live chat is really great. I'm talking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like 2 o'clock in the morning when we wouldn't be available and you need research help. You come here, you put your information in here, you click connect over on the right-hand side, and you get a librarian. And they're from anywhere in the world, but they have access to all of our databases. They're reference librarians that are really awesome, and they will help you with your research. And what's even cooler is, see where it says email here? The only reason they want your email address is so that they can send you a transcript of the entire conversation. So you don't have to remember any of the links that they sent you. You don't have to remember any of the gems of information they sent along to you. You can just look at it in the transcript. So there's that too. So we're working on lots of different ways to give you what you need. So feel free to contact us. In fact, let me go back here. Yeah, those are, we also have, if you go into library information and library staff, all the librarians are in there. So you can get a hold of us in there. Librarians here we go. Here's Lisa Berger, she's a librarian. Or you can just write down my information. Where is it? Here we go. It's loading. My name is Allison Gerganis, but my last name used to be Steinberg, which is the S right here. So my email address is asteinby@sdccd.edu. You can contact me anytime you want to via email, and I'm happy to get back with you. I can set up a Zoom appointment with you, or I can just answer your email, whatever it is you need. We can set up however the best way is. I can call you on the phone too, doesn't matter. Your librarians are here for you. We have lots of people that are trying to support what you're doing from home. So we really want to make sure that you get what you need. And we're doing as much as we can to help you. So if you have any needs, just let us know, because we want you to be successful. And we're working on it. We're trying. So anybody have anything they would like to add to our happy little writing workshop for today? Oh, thanks. Oh,
Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. Ah, there we go. You're welcome. I'm happy that you all came today, and I hope it was helpful. And I really hope you're able to get what you need for your classes while you're at home. Because like I said, we're trying. And yeah, so you're welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna end the meeting, and we have recorded it. So if in fact you would like to see this again, you can just contact me and I can send you the link, and you can watch this all over again. Yay. Okay, so thanks. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome. And I will-
Thanks.
You're welcome. If I can stop the meeting, stop share. Oh, there we go. Hi, Adiyama. Good to see you. Okay, I'm gonna end the meeting now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.